Well, hello, my name's David Groff with Cedar Meadow Farm. Me and my dad, Steve, farm here in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. And this is one of our hemp fields. We grow cereal grains, corn, wheat, produce. We have tomatoes and pumpkins and squash. But this is one of our hemp fields. And what we did here, we planted a mix of ryegrass, of a perennial rye, a short, low-growing rye, and a dwarf white clover mix. In between these rows here, we blocked off the 2 rows right over the hemp row, since we have a 10-foot drill and we have a 10-foot center transplanter, 2 rows 5 feet apart. What we did is we came through about a day before we transplanted the hemp in here, and we planted with GPS right in the same tracks that we'll plant the hemp the next day. So we planted that and came in the next day, planted these transplants, and they came up pretty good. We're pretty excited with the result. We want to keep the cover crop in there instead of a whole load of weeds coming. It'll help suppress it. And the clover helps keep the nitrogen flowing to the hemp. We always love our diversity. So anything different, growing with each other helps everyone involved. So we think we've got a cool little thing going on here, and we can't wait to see how it turns out. One interesting thing we found, we have weeds here, but what they're actually doing is they're distracting the insects, the biting insects. So here in this, this red root plant, we have these leaves are all chewed up and the hemp plants are totally clean. So the bugs, instead of going to the hemp plants, are actually enjoying the red root more than the plants. They're a very good distraction. So that's an unintended, unintended benefit that we found. So this CBD, high CBD hemp will be extracted and used for little droppers of CBD oil. And so this stuff we planted it in our greenhouse transplanted in trays in beginning of May. And by the end of May, early June, we were planting these in the field. Some of this, the earliest was in the beginning of June, end of May, and then the last stuff was in the middle of June. Just different fields, different timing. It takes a while to plant some of these acres. So this will be harvested around September, late September. It all depends though. We'll be watching it closely. We'll be having some instruments out here testing it. We'll be testing it every other day, even every day as we get closer to harvest, and leading up to then even every week. So pretty soon, once this starts flowering, they're just in the starting stage. Once it starts flowering, getting the buds on, we'll start testing for levels of CBD and for THC. We don't want it to get above 0.3%. And so we'll be watching that very closely as time goes on. Not organic. It doesn't need a separate license. Right now it's so new that there's not much of a distinction whether you're growing organic or conventional. The biggest distinction with that is who you're growing for. So that's your market determines that. Our license was, they changed the rules slightly. When they came out, you could have an organization and they would have growers under them that could be covered under the license. That's what we are covered under. Currently, every grower has to individually get their permit, but they honor the previous rules. What we did, at the very end, we got kind of smart and we decided, why don't we put some organic, it was actually organic fertilizer, put some in the rows over the hemp with our drill. And I mean, it's not going to be something we're going to be able to measure the benefit, but it can't hurt. And so we did some of that elsewhere, or somewhere, some of that. We're also fertigating every single time we irrigate. We're putting something with it, with the drip tape here. So we're able to inject different types of fertilizers, different types of soil amendments, different types of biologicals, everything everything that we think is going to be beneficial, because we're doing everything we can to make these plants as healthy as possible.